Glyn Edwards, a renowned medium remembered. Collection of memories and teachings, compiled by Santoshan, also known as Stephen Wollaston. A short biography about Glyn Edwards. In the course of my development, I have come to realize how our individual spirit, nature, the spirit world and God are continuously creating, and how by participating with this activity, we become co-creators with the creative powers of all life. Passage taken from the Potential of Mediumship. Glyn was born in Liverpool on the 17th of August 1949 and was the oldest of 4 siblings. His parents, Violet and Eddie, came from Catholic and Welsh Presbyterian church backgrounds. As Glyn's father was in the army, Glyn spent a lot of his early years living in different parts of the world, such as Cyprus and Egypt. His parents then settled for a while in the UK, when Eddie, with Violet's help, became a pub landlord in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. They then lived in the United States for a period, but Glyn remained in England. During his Earth life, Glyn became internationally recognized as one of the UK's finest mediums. At 16, he joined a Benedictine community. Within this period of his life, various mediumistic experiences he had had since a child intensified, which subsequently led him to leave the community after staying for 2 years. He then went on to train at Sassoon's, became a sought-after hairdresser, and began to take a deeper interest in his mediumistic abilities after a sitting under an assumed name with a medium who gave him remarkable evidence about his grandmother and other members of his family. After doing his first public demonstration of mediumship at 19, he immediately went on to working regularly as a medium. He later became a certificated medium of the SNU, the Spiritualists' National Union, and a protege of the world-renowned medium Gordon M. Higginson, and worked on an array of projects with him for many years, including demonstrating his mediumship at the Derby Assembly Rooms in 1991 as part of the SNU's centenary celebrations. He traveled extensively, speaking, lecturing, demonstrating, and running workshops throughout the UK and worldwide for over 40 years. He owed much of his early work to Jean Matheson, a longtime friend and organizer of numerous successful events and courses in the north of England, who sat for him in a highly productive development circle and helped him gain confidence in his abilities. He was the main founder of the Gordon Higginson Fellowship and the Gordon Higginson Awareness Foundation, both of which ran various courses in the south of England. He was also a regular course organizer and teacher at the Arthur Findlay College for over 3 decades, worked at the Spiritualist Association of Great Britain, and was involved with the research of PRISM, psychical research involving selected mediums. He possessed extensive understanding of various mediumistic and spiritual paths, and was always up to date with the latest ideas and discoveries of different traditions. He was particularly known for the quality of his work and his ability to demonstrate his mediumship almost effortlessly in front of large audiences. A short YouTube video of Glyn publicly demonstrating his mediumship, taken from a documentary shown on the BBC about the SNU, shows him giving evidence that even the most hardened skeptic would find difficult to explain away about a town where someone used to live having a very unusual postbox, as it wasn't painted red, it was green and made out of wood. On some occasions he gave a demonstration of trance mediumship. More than anything, Glyn was highly respected for his understanding of and insight into different areas of mediumistic unfoldment, and his devotion to helping students explore and realize their individual potential. His teachings and courses often promoted an inclusive approach to development. Along with those from spiritualist backgrounds, students and teachers on his courses and workshops could come from a variety of traditions such as Hindu, Christian, Jewish, yogic, Buddhist, Sufi, psychotherapist, Reiki healer, and neo-pagan, and could be of any age from teenage years to senior citizens. He was interviewed on television and radio throughout the world, recorded many teachings and practices, wrote numerous articles on mediumship and spiritual growth, and co-authored 2 development manuals, Tune Into Your Spiritual Potential and 21, Steps to Reach Your Spirit. Because of other commitments Glyn had and the slow process of publishing in the 90s, the first book took 8 years from conception to being released in printed form. Nonetheless, Glyn worked on several of his chapters while on a single 2-week holiday in the New Forest area in South England. The 2 co-authored books were thoroughly revised and given new titles in 2011, The Spirit World in plain English and Spirit Gems. Glyn was also extensively featured in 2 in-depth interviews in the book Realms of Wondrous Gifts, released in 2008, and featured in a book called The Best of British, which was released to coincide with the new millennium. In order to recharge his own batteries, Glyn frequently went on silent retreats to various countryside and town monasteries in the UK. For a while, he undertook instruction from a renowned tantric yoga master, Sri Jammu Maharaj, as well as a teacher from the Bihar School of Yoga, Swami Dhammananda Saraswati Maharaj, who gave him the name Devadasa, meaning servant of God. Along with Eastern wisdom and practices such as mindfulness, Glyn was for many years deeply inspired by the teachings of the New Thought writer and teacher Ernest Holmes. He took serious interest in the revival of centering prayer, pioneered by Thomas Keating, and found times being amongst nature an important part of his spiritual life. 2 of his favorite places to go on holiday were the Lake District in the north of England and Devon in the south. Insights about the creativity of nature, an ever-present spirit world, and the divinity in all were often predominant themes in Glyn's talks and writings. He had a deep passion for reading about different spiritual paths. His modest apartment in Maids Morton, Buckinghamshire, was like a wonderful library of universal wisdom. He also had a great love of art, theatre, poetry, and various styles of music, particularly the joyousness that is often expressed in J.S. Bach's compositions, and the sublime vocal skills of the Indian singer Kaushiki Chakrabarti. Both Bach and Chakrabarti were often found to be playing more than any other CDs on Glyn's car stereo. In 2003, he made the front page of Psychic News, which he had done many times in his mediumistic life, after being struck down by a mystery illness that affected the muscles on the left side of his face as well as his balance, and often used a stick for walking from then on. After this, he showed how determination and the power of the spirit can overcome adversity. Remarkably, many testified to how his work and teachings moved on to a deeper level. He personally found this chapter in his life opening up many profound insights and experiences that expanded his mediumistic and spiritual understanding. In the late spring of 2014, he was diagnosed with cancer and underwent chemotherapy. Although it became clear Glyn was not responding well to the treatment, he insisted on teaching up to the last, and even began an outline for an article from his hospital bed towards the end of his earth life. He remained positive and passed to spirit peacefully with his mother and sister, Elaine, by his side at 10 a.m. on the 31st of May 2015. A service for close friends and family was held in the morning at Crown Hill Crematorium, Milton Keynes, on the 12th of June. A celebration of his life was especially held in the afternoon at Akeley Village Hall for public attendance and to coincide with his youngest brother, Delwyn, and one of Glyn's best friends being in the UK at the same time. People whose lives had been touched by Glyn came from as far as Scotland, Germany, Sweden, and Holland. Ian Moll, an interfaith minister, led the afternoon celebration, during which family members, respected mediums and close friends of Glyn's, such as Eileen Davies and Mark Stone, shared treasured memories about him. Other celebration and memorial services and remembrances of Glyn's life were also organized, including one at the Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism in the United States, and one by the SNU at the Arthur Findlay College on its Open Week in 2016, which was written about in Psychic News and accompanied by an article about Glyn, his life, loves, and individual spiritual growth. Glyn's work lives on, of course, in his books, including an expanded edition of the Potential of Mediumship anthology of his wisdom, and a new book of inspiring quotations by him. His work also lives on in his recordings, and with various people and students he helped, many of whom have become teachers and mediums because of Glyn's help. There have even been reports of him communicating via some working mediums and mediumistic development circles, and the Glyn Edwards Spiritual Awareness Foundation ran many popular courses honoring his name for 5 years after his passing. Note: this biography is from the anthology of Glyn's wisdom, The Potential of Mediumship, expanded edition. The Realms of Wondrous Gifts book mentioned was a book that Glyn especially requested to be done, and for it to be published by the Gordon Higginson Fellowship, one of the organizations Glyn founded. A thoroughly revised, redesigned, and reformatted third edition was released in 2020. The quotations book mentioned is titled Reflections with Glyn Edwards, which was released in 2019 to coincide with what would have been Glyn's 70th Earth year. In 2024, a second book of quotations by him was released, alongside a complete collection that combined the two Reflections books.